You're standing in a church, wearing a $3,000 wedding dress, about to marry the man of your dreams. 200 guests are watching, the photographer is snapping away, and your fake pregnancy belly is perfectly hidden under layers of white satin. You think you've pulled off the con of the century. This is the story of Luna Walsh, a 29-year-old real estate agent who thought she could fake her way into a fairy tale ending. Let's rewind to January 2021. Luna's living in Phoenix, working at a high-end real estate firm, and she's been dating this guy Ryan for 8 months. And look, Ryan isn't just successful, this dude is loaded. Trust fund baby, family money, drives a Tesla, lives in a penthouse downtown. But here's the thing, Ryan's got commitment issues, like serious commitment issues. He's 34, never been married, and every time Luna brings up their future, he changes the subject. Meanwhile, Luna's biological clock is ticking so loud she can hear it in her sleep. Luna's friends are all getting married, having babies, buying houses, and here she is, almost 30, dating a guy who won't even let her leave a toothbrush at his place. So, Luna makes a decision that's about to ruin multiple lives. She's going to force Ryan's hand with the oldest trick in the book. Luna starts planning her fake pregnancy like it's a military operation. She researches everything: morning sickness symptoms, pregnancy hormones, how to fake ultrasound photos. She even joins online pregnancy forums to learn the lingo. The setup is perfect. Luna tells Ryan she's going off birth control because it's messing with her hormones. Ryan's fine with condoms, but Luna starts poking holes in them with a needle. Not enough to be obvious, just tiny little pinpricks. And then one night, Luna puts on the performance of her life. She starts throwing up after dinner, claims she's been feeling nauseous all week, and suggests maybe she should take a pregnancy test just to be safe. Ryan's face goes white. But we've been careful. Luna shrugs. Birth control isn't 100% effective, babe. You know that. She disappears into the bathroom with a pregnancy test she's already rigged with a friend's pregnant urine, waits the appropriate amount of time, and comes out with tears in her eyes and the positive test in her hands. Ryan, she whispers, "We're having a baby." Ryan's initial reaction is pure panic. He's pacing around his penthouse, running his hands through his hair, muttering about how this wasn't supposed to happen. Luna watches him have what's basically a meltdown and starts to wonder if she's made a huge mistake. But then something shifts. Ryan stops pacing, looks at Luna, and his whole demeanor changes. "You know what?" he says. "Maybe this is exactly what I needed. Maybe this is the universe telling me to grow up and stop being afraid of commitment." Within a week, Ryan's talking about marriage. Within 2 weeks, he's bought a ring. Within a month, he's proposed in front of the Bellagio fountains in Vegas with a 3-carat diamond that costs more than Luna's car. Luna's living her dream. She's got the ring, she's got the man, and she's got a wedding date set for 6 months from now. Long enough to plan the perfect wedding, but not so long that her fake pregnancy becomes obvious. The only problem? Ryan's mother, Barbara. Barbara is old Phoenix money, like her family founded half the city kind of money. She's been the queen bee of Phoenix society for 30 years, and she did not approve of her son dating some nobody real estate agent from the beginning. But now that Luna's pregnant with her grandchild, Barbara goes into full investigation mode. The first red flag is when Barbara insists on going to Luna's first prenatal appointment with her. Luna panics and makes up an excuse about wanting to keep it private, just her and Ryan. Barbara's eyes narrow, but she backs off. The second red flag is when Barbara starts asking very specific questions about Luna's symptoms, her due date, her doctor's recommendations. Luna's done her research, but Barbara's had 3 kids of her own, and something doesn't add up. But the third red flag is what seals Luna's fate. Barbara hires a private investigator. Picture Luna standing in Barbara's massive mansion, being interrogated like she's on trial. Barbara's sitting behind this enormous mahogany desk with a file folder in front of her, asking questions like, "Which hospital are you planning to deliver at? What's your doctor's name? Have you started taking prenatal vitamins?" Luna's sweating through her blouse, trying to remember all the lies she's told, while Barbara takes notes like she's building a legal case. What Luna doesn't know is that Barbara's private investigator, a former police detective named Mike Rodriguez, is very, very good at his job, and he starts finding inconsistencies immediately. First, Mike calls every OBGYN office in Phoenix, claiming to be from Luna's insurance company, trying to verify her pregnancy. No records found anywhere. Then he starts following Luna. He watches her go to a coffee shop every morning and order large lattes with extra caffeine. He watches her go to yoga classes where she's doing intense poses that no pregnant woman should be doing. He watches her go to bars with her friends and order cocktails, then pour them into plants when she thinks no one is looking. But the smoking gun comes when Mike follows Luna to a medical supply store where he watches her buy fake ultrasound photos from a website that specializes in prank pregnancy kits. Mike gets photos of everything: Luna buying the fake ultrasounds, Luna throwing away pregnancy tests, Luna at the pharmacy buying clothes to stuff under her shirt to fake a baby bump. Meanwhile, Luna thinks everything is going perfectly. She's gained a little weight to sell the pregnancy, she's started wearing looser clothes, and she's even faking morning sickness on schedule. Ryan is being the perfect supportive fiancé, bringing her ginger ale and crackers, talking about baby names, setting up a nursery. The wedding planning is in full swing. Luna's picked out her dream venue, hired the best photographer in Phoenix, and invited 200 people to witness her perfect day. She's even picked out a wedding dress that will hide her fake pregnancy bump beautifully. But Barbara's been busy too. She's not just collecting evidence, she's planning Luna's complete and total public humiliation. 2 weeks before the wedding, Barbara calls Luna and suggests they have lunch to clear the air and start fresh as family. Luna's suspicious, but she agrees because she wants Barbara to like her. Big mistake. Barbara takes Luna to the most exclusive restaurant in Phoenix, a place where everyone knows Barbara and where gossip spreads faster than wildfire. They're seated at Barbara's regular table, right in the center of the dining room where everyone can see them. Barbara orders champagne. "To celebrate my future daughter-in-law and my first grandchild," she says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Luna panics. "Oh, I can't drink. The baby." "Of course not," Barbara says smoothly. "How silly of me. You're being such a responsible mother already." Then Barbara starts asking questions. Innocent questions at first. "How are you feeling? Any morning sickness? When's your next doctor's appointment?" But then Barbara gets specific. "I spoke to Dr. Mitchell's office, my OBGYN from when I had Ryan, and they said they'd be happy to take you on as a patient. But when I mentioned your name, they said you weren't in their system. Strange, right?" Luna's heart starts racing. I'm going to a different practice." "Which practice?" Barbara asks, her voice still sweet, but her eyes like steel. Luna names the first practice she can think of. Barbara nods and pulls out her phone. "Let me call them right now and see if we can get you an earlier appointment. I have connections everywhere." Luna watches in horror as Barbara actually calls the doctor's office, right there at the table, and asks to speak to someone about her son's fiancé's pregnancy. The conversation doesn't go well. Barbara hangs up and looks at Luna with a smile that could freeze hell over. "They've never heard of you either. How strange." Luna's trapped. She's sitting in the middle of Phoenix's most gossip-central restaurant, and Barbara is systematically destroying her story in front of dozens of witnesses. "You know what I think, Luna?" Barbara says, her voice carrying to the neighboring tables. "I think you're not pregnant at all. I think you're a manipulative little gold digger who thought she could trap my son with a fake pregnancy." The restaurant goes quiet. Everyone is staring. Luna can feel her face burning with shame and panic. That's insane," Luna stammers. "I'm pregnant. I have the ultrasound photos." Barbara reaches into her purse and pulls out a manila envelope. "You mean these ultrasound photos?" She dumps out copies of the fake ultrasounds Luna bought online, along with photos of Luna at the medical supply store, photos of her drinking coffee, photos of her doing yoga poses no pregnant woman could do. "My private investigator is very thorough," Barbara says. "Would you like to see the rest of the evidence?" The next photos are even worse. There are screenshots of Luna's internet searches, how to fake pregnancy, fake ultrasound photos, pregnancy symptoms by week. There are photos of her throwing away unused pregnancy tests. There are even photos of her stuffing clothes under her shirt to practice her fake bump. Luna's entire fake pregnancy is laid out on the table like evidence in a murder trial, and everyone in the restaurant is watching her world explode in real time. "I've already shown all of this to Ryan," Barbara says calmly. "He's waiting for you at home. He'd like to have a conversation." Luna stumbles out of the restaurant in complete humiliation, knowing that by dinner time, everyone in their social circle will know the truth. Luna gets back to Ryan's penthouse to find him sitting on the couch with the evidence spread out on the coffee table in front of him. He looks like he's aged 10 years in one afternoon. "Is it true?" he asks without looking up. Luna tries to lie, tries to explain, tries to make him believe that his mother is crazy and vindictive. But there's too much evidence. The photos don't lie. The internet searches don't lie. The fake ultrasounds don't lie. Ryan finally looks at her, and Luna sees something in his eyes she's never seen before: complete and total disgust. "You know what the worst part is?" he says. "I was actually excited about being a father. I was ready to change my whole life for this baby, for our baby, and it was all fake." Luna starts crying, begging him to forgive her, telling him she only did it because she loved him so much. Ryan stands up and walks to the window. "Love doesn't look like this, Luna. Love doesn't involve lies and manipulation and fraud. This is the opposite of love." Here's where most people would expect the story to end, with a quiet breakup and a canceled wedding. But Barbara isn't most people, and she's not done destroying Luna yet. Barbara lets the wedding proceed. She doesn't tell Ryan to cancel it. She doesn't tell the guests what happened. She just shows up to the church with her manila envelope and waits for the perfect moment. Luna thinks maybe, somehow, she can still salvage this. Maybe Ryan will forgive her. Maybe they can work through this. Maybe she can still get her fairy tale ending. She's so wrong. As Luna's walking down the aisle, she can see Ryan at the altar, and his face is stone cold. She can see Barbara in the front row, looking like a cat who caught a canary. She can see 200 guests who have no idea they're about to witness the most spectacular wedding disaster in Phoenix history. The minister starts the ceremony. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." And that's when Barbara stands up. Barbara walks to the altar like she owns the place, which, given her family's donations to the church, she basically does. She's carrying that manila envelope and wearing a smile that would terrify Satan himself. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she says, in a voice that carries to the back of the church, "but before my son makes what would be the biggest mistake of his life, I think everyone here needs to know exactly what kind of woman he's marrying." The church goes dead silent. Luna feels like she's going to throw up, and this time it's not fake morning sickness. Barbara opens the envelope and starts pulling out evidence: the fake ultrasound photos, the internet search screenshots, the photos of Luna buying pregnancy test supplies. "Ladies and gentlemen," Barbara announces, "my son's bride-to-be has been lying to us for months. She is not pregnant. She has never been pregnant. She faked an entire pregnancy to trap my son." The gasps from the audience are audible. Luna's own family members are staring at her in horror. Her friends are pulling out their phones to record the carnage. Ryan takes off his ring and hands it back to Luna. I can't marry someone who would lie about something this fundamental. I can't trust someone who would manipulate me this way. Luna runs out of the church in her $3,000 wedding dress, leaving 200 witnesses to the most spectacular wedding disaster they've ever seen. The video goes viral within hours. Hashtag fake pregnancy wedding starts trending on TikTok. But Barbara's not done yet. She makes sure the story gets picked up by local news. She makes sure Luna's employer finds out about the fraud. She makes everyone in Phoenix society knows exactly what Luna tried to pull. Luna loses her job. Turns out, lying about major life events doesn't look good for someone in a trust-based profession like real estate. She loses her apartment. She can't afford rent without her job. She loses most of her friends. Who can trust someone who would fake a pregnancy? Ryan gets back the ring and moves on with his life. 6 months later, he starts dating a pediatric nurse named Amy, who actually wants kids and doesn't need to lie to get them. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Barbara's private investigator discovers that Luna's fake pregnancy fraud might actually be criminal. In Arizona, obtaining property or services under false pretenses is a felony. And Ryan had spent thousands of dollars on baby supplies, doctor appointments, and wedding expenses based on Luna's lies. The district attorney decides to prosecute Luna for fraud. She ends up taking a plea deal: 2 years probation, community service, and restitution to Ryan for all the money he spent based on her lies. The fake pregnancy that was supposed to get Luna everything she wanted instead cost her everything she had. 1 year later, Luna's working at a chain restaurant, living with 3 roommates, and trying to rebuild her life. She thinks the worst is behind her. Then she gets a package in the mail with no return address. Inside is a newspaper clipping, Ryan's engagement announcement to Amy, the pediatric nurse. They're having a real baby, and they look genuinely happy. There's a note attached in Barbara's handwriting. "This is what real love looks like. I hope someday you learn the difference." But that's not the twist. The twist is that Luna discovers she's actually pregnant, for real this time, from a one-night stand she had during her lowest point after the wedding disaster. And now she's facing a real pregnancy with no support system, no money, no job prospects, and a criminal record. The fake pregnancy that was supposed to give her everything has left her with nothing when she actually needs help. Today, Luna lives in a different state under a different name. She had her baby and is raising him as a single mother while working 2 jobs to make ends meet. She says the experience taught her that lies have consequences that extend far beyond what you can imagine. Barbara still runs Phoenix society with an iron fist, and she's become somewhat of a legend for her wedding day takedown. She's known as the mother-in-law you don't want to cross. Ryan and Amy got married in a small private ceremony. They now have 2 children and run a nonprofit that helps women with unplanned pregnancies get the support they need. When people ask Luna what she learned from the whole experience, she always gives the same answer. "I thought I was playing chess, but Barbara was playing 4D chess. I thought I was the smartest person in the room, but I was actually the biggest fool." The last Luna heard, Barbara had framed the fake ultrasound photos and hung them in her study as a reminder that no one tries to con her family. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's letting someone's own lies destroy them completely. Faking a pregnancy is not only morally wrong, it can also have serious legal consequences, including fraud charges. And remember, real love doesn't require lies, manipulation, or fraud. If you have to trick someone into being with you, they're not the right person for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.